Okay, we're going to look at our timber fences and mounting the brackets in the timber fence. This is one of our most common kits that we sell. And so starting at the beginning, we need to start off being safe. So make sure you've got some safety glasses, some earmuffs, and using the drill bit that we include, just drill vertical holes down into the top of the timber fence. Okay, then we take one of our timber fence brackets with the wood thread on it, and putting it in the hole, we just twist it in. So we're going to go down as far as the depth of where the thread is. This will give us the correct height for the wire. Okay, so we just finish by having the hole in the bracket in line with the fence. Okay, that's the first one. These brackets are spaced every 2.5 metres or 8 feet apart. Take another bracket and do the same thing. And that's how we attach the timber fence brackets. The next fence we're going to look at is the Colorbond Metal Fence. This is also a very popular type of fence that we attach our cat fences to. Now for this one, we use a bracket that has a nut and bolt type attachment, and this attaches into the metal top capping of the Colorbond fence. So, once again, we use the drill bit that we include with the cat fence, and once again, being safe, just a wee tap there to make sure the drill bit doesn't skew off. Now the interesting thing here is with the cat fence, with the type of fence you've got here, there are these undulations where the fence goes in and out. So if you just follow the contour of the fence, you can actually reach up here, and there is a wee flat bit underneath here, and that's the part we need to get to, because we need to be able to reach up and put the nut on our bracket. Through here, we're just going to reach up there, feel around there. So, tap, tap. Okay, next we take a bracket. Each bracket has 2 nuts. We're going to put the first nut on, and we're going to screw it all the way up the thread. So it's as far up as it'll go. And then we go to our hole and we pop it through the hole and put the nut on from underneath. This can be a little bit sensitive, a little bit technique sensitive, but you will get better as you go along. So once you get that just to start, just tighten it up with your fingers until the nut is flush with the bottom of that bracket. Okay, so then it's like this. And now we're going to just tighten this nut on top down to tighten it onto the fence. And then we're just going to get our wee spanner that we talked about, or pliers if you haven't got one, and just holding the bracket, we're just going to just give that a wee tweak to make it nice and firm. Once again, the hole in the bracket needs to be in line with the fence. Now we'll grab another bracket and doing the same thing, do one nut up all the way, and then we're going to insert it through the hole just so that the nut, you can feel the bottom of that bracket just flush with the bottom of the nut so that it's just grabbed. And then we're going to do the same thing, we're going to tighten the top nut down, and then we're going to get our spanner and we're just going to tighten that nut, keeping the hole in the bracket in line with the fence, because this is how the wire is going to run. Okay, so that's how we attach the brackets to the Colorbond metal fences. So next we're going to look at the masonry fence and attaching the brackets. Now, once again, we can do this with a battery drill, but your drill will need to be capable of drilling into the brick, mortar or masonry fence that you've got. So once again, using the drill bit that we provide and being safe. Okay, next, using the nylon anchors that we provide with the installation pack, take one of the little green plugs and pop it in the hole and give it a wee tap in like that. And then these brackets are the same as our timber fence brackets. They just screw into the nylon anchors. So taking that, we do the same thing. We just screw that in, once again to the depth of that thread. Also keeping the hole in line with the fence for the wire. Okay, so taking another one of the nylon anchors, pop it in the hole, give it a wee tap, another bracket, and screw that in. Okay, and that's how we attach the brackets to the masonry fence, brick, or any of those rendered variations. Okay, so now we're going to run the wires onto the brackets. So the first thing to do is this bracket that's going to be closest to where the control unit's going to be mounted. All we're going to do there is just loosen that off a wee bit, and we're going to have that bracket lining in line with the fence. Okay. Next, we take the black wire with the white wire connected. As I say, it's got the terminal connected onto it, and it's joined on. This black wire is 8 meters long, and the white wire for the installation pack that you buy will either be 25 meters long or 50 meters long. This is just for our demonstration fence. Okay, so when we get to that first bracket, we just tie a wee knot in the white poly wire, loop it over the bracket. So the reason we're doing this is to take the strain off the join between the black wire and the white poly wire. Okay, then we grab the white poly wire and we take it along to the next bracket, and when we get to this bracket we do a single loop around the base of that metal bracket and just pull that firm, and then from there we're going to the next bracket. You'll notice that the fences are different heights, and the reason for this is because I just wanted to show how versatile the cat fence is and how we can go different height and different direction with our cat fences. So we continue along to the next bracket. Once again we do a single loop around the base of that bracket, the metal base, and then down to that bracket, all the time keeping this wire pulled firm, and then along to the end bracket, and we're actually going to tie this off at the last bracket. So the beauty of this wire is it's very, very flexible, and it just has the same consistency as string, so it's easy to tie a knot in it. Okay, just cut off any excess. So that is the black wire finished, and now we're going to move on and we're going to connect the red wire. Once again, the red wire has got the terminal on it and it's joined onto the white poly wire. So we're going to do a similar process. So we're going to tie a knot in the end of this wire, and we're going to loop it over that bracket on the black part of the bracket. Okay, it takes the strain off the joint in the wire. So now we're going to move along to the next bracket. In the little angled groove in the side of the bracket, we're just going to put that wire in, and then up to the next bracket, so that the wire is going through the black part of each bracket. We're going to come along to the next bracket and we're going to put it in the slot in the side of the bracket again, and then down to that next bracket. You'll notice that the wire is following parallel with the fence, and that by placing the brackets in the right locations we can overcome changes in height and direction of your fence. Okay, now we're going to come along to the last bracket at the end of your fence. We're going to take this final bracket and we're going to turn it so that it's in line with the fence, and we're going to take the wire and tie it off at this last bracket. Keeping it nice and firm, we're going to just tie that off there like that, and then we're going to cut off the excess. We don't want any flappy bits like this touching the fence. And just cut that off. Okay, so that's the wires run along the fence. We're all complete, so now we're just going to go back and we're going to connect the control unit. So now we're going to mount the control unit. With the cat fences we have 8 meters of the insulated wire which goes from the fence to the control unit, so that shouldn't be an issue. Now we have provided a wee template to show where to mount the screws. So place a template where you want to mount the control unit and just center the screws into these 2 holes. The spacing is 40 millimeters, and we're just going to put these 2 screws in. We're not going to screw them right in, we're going to leave them sticking out about 5 millimeters. Okay, we're going to take our controller, and on the back of the controller there are 2 little slots, and we're just going to hang the controller onto the 2 screws, just like that. Now the red wire we are going to connect onto the controller there's a red dot on the front of the controller, and on the bottom of the controller below that red dot there is a wee flat terminal. So we're just going to push that onto there, and then we're going to take the green wire, and it's got a similar end, and there's a green dot on the front of the controller. We're going to use that push on terminal and just connect onto the little flat terminal there and hang the controller back on. Okay, now we've got the red wire connected, and we're now left with a green wire and a black wire. These two wires are going to connect onto the ground stake. We have a nut and bolt already on there, and we're just going to pop the two terminals straight onto that bolt and just put that nut on and tighten it up. We can tighten that up with our spanner. So it's nice and tight. And then we're going to take the ground stake, and then we're going to push it into a piece of garden or lawn, doesn't matter, somewhere out of the way, and just push that in. So it's about 150 millimeters sticking up from the ground. So that's the ground stake connected. So now we've got the green wire connected, the red wire connected, and the fence is all connected. So now we just want to put power onto the control unit. On the side of the control unit there is a round jack for that plug to go into. Just plug it in there, pop that back on. The control unit can be mounted inside or outside. A lot of people mount it in a garage or in a laundry, just somewhere out of the way. But if you're lucky enough to have an outdoor power point, then that is superb. So because we're outside, we use the outdoor one. And now we've got everything connected, and we're just going to turn the power on. And you'll notice that there is a green indicator light on the front of the controller. This is flashing once every second, and this just indicates that the unit is working correctly. And on the front of the control unit there is also a little red button that is a wee power button. So you can either turn it on and off from the control unit or from the switch on your power point. Okay, so now there's only one thing left to do, and that is to test that it's working correctly. So don't do this with bare feet, because you just feel the pulse a little bit stronger. So make sure you've got some shoes on, and just using the back of your hand, just touch the wire, and you can just feel that pulse in the wire. And that is a deterrent for your cat, because your cat is standing on the fence, and it will not like that, and it will be harmless, but it will not like the wee pulse in the wire.